Hello, family, loved ones, and friends. Welcome to Truth and Life. I'm Johnny Sanders, and today we're going to have another discussion that I implore you to just sit back, listen, and learn, and hopefully help you in your current situation. If not today, put it in your pocket. You may not need it today, but just put it in your pocket, and hopefully later you can utilize what I'm getting ready to share with you guys. And before we get started, please subscribe to my channel so I can continuously share this wonderful content with so many others in the world. So let's get started. And I say thank you. Today's discussion is going to be to avoid desperate acts. To avoid desperate acts when tumultuous things happen to us. You don't want to do a knee jerk reaction and just jump in to just, oh, let me hurry up and fix it. Let me hurry up and fix it. Especially men, we are fixers. And sometimes um, things happen for a specific reason. And some things we have to let life play out. And when I say life play out, some things God allows because He's fixing, correcting, He's shaping certain things that is going to be better for us. And you have to know and learn the difference. We're living in a very tough and disturbing times right now for many people. Many people have very um, traumatic perspectives of what is right, what is wrong, what's going on right and wrong in our lives. And they've decided to make a decision that really has been a miscue for themselves, okay? And it's good to have good morals, good boundaries, good standards, good values. So you can have something to weigh in on, to kind of see if this is the right way I should be going or should not be going. And that's a good trait to have in life. And I welcome it and wish more people would take the time to have those types of boundaries in their lives so they won't be rushed into making drastic decisions. So, as a businessman myself, that I've been for many years, or a businesswoman, um, sometimes we're faced with having to slide the scale, if you will, sliding the scale of what's ethical and what's not so ethical. Having a good ethical practice in order to make a deal that, you know, we believe will be beneficial for us as a business person or a business corporation, or if you work for a corporation, a department, if you will. Messages within the Christian community are being watered down. I believe that they're being watered down in order to please those who are listening with an itching ear and not disrupted um, of their lifestyle, of the wrong that they're doing, um, the challenges that should be challenging people to take a stand for values and solid teachings. I don't see enough of that. I don't see enough leaders taking a stand, creating good values in a value place where people can take a better stand. What I see is people doing a lot of trickiness, lying, finagling, um, stealing, robbing. There's been just a whole lot of mischievous things that has been unleashed on earth from my perspective. Many people in relationships um, who are trying to find a good relationship periodically feel a good sense of despair with how their love life is going. And I'm like, ugh. I see the different TikToks, I see the different Instagram posts, and I do not want my brothers and sisters acting desperately, doing certain things, showing certain things that they shouldn't be. And then you want that next person to respect who you are. And I saw this clip of this video. It was very, very profound. And it was a podcast, and it was a woman and it was a man, and they were discussing why the opposite person should be interested in them and why they're not. And I'll start with the woman first. From her perspective, and I'll keep it real short. From her perspective, she was looking at men and was expecting certain things for a man to do for her, but they had to look a certain way. Okay, that's was her first mistake in the argument, in my humble opinion. And the guy immediately went into defense mode, kicked back at her, and was like, "Well, look at you. You're judging," and they had a couple of guys on the panel. "You're judging this person, this man, because of the way he looked and what he may or may not have, or may not drive. And you haven't even gotten an opportunity to even know who he is. And if he comes and does the same thing to you, then you have an attitude and you're offended and you are looking for something that you're not willing to even give out." And we as people have to stop doing that to one another. We have to stop doing that, and then saying certain things like that, which is causing an effect, because it was a cause and effect. Because again, I'm gonna keep it short. He said enough things to her to the point where she started tearing up and choking up, because he hit certain spots that were tender in her heart, that she knew and that she knows is a certain mental flaw within herself that she probably is working on. But the fact that he said it out loud and exposed it, and it was like, he see me. He sees what I don't want him to see. That caused a problem for her. And the show took a different turn. And it had a decent ending, because both male and female had to take a look at themselves and realize that, you know what, this is what we're doing to one another. And the direction that it went, it had a good positive spin. But for me, what I grasp from it is we need to stop doing this to one another, because you want to be loved, you want to be accepted, you want to be embraced. We all do. But it takes you time to get to know that person. And yes, there are going to be flaws. Yes, let's get past that. There are going to be flaws. However, take the time to get to know the good in that person. Welcome and value that in that person. We sometimes act on our own emotions, sometimes more than not. These actions cause us to be rash. They cause us to say things that are not positive to that person. Okay? Let me say this. The best time to show desperation is to be desperate for the protection and peace of God. That's when you show desperation, running after Him. If you run after Him, He will embrace you. You don't have to run hard and you don't have to run far. Once you're received in Him, then He will show you and give you different ways to think, to choose people in your life. When you have a doubt, okay, when you have a doubt of this particular person or people or group or company and who you should choose, depend on Him to guide you and live with His decision in peace, because whatever He decides to give you and want you to have is going to be better for you. He means it better for your good. It is easy to sit back and allow others to dictate to you, and tell you what you should or shouldn't do, who you should and shouldn't be, who you decide to roll with, if you will, who you should have as your friend or shouldn't have as your friend. It's easy for those on the outside looking in to say those things and having you to deal with it. But I deplore you to take the time to understand yourself and determine if what is good for you is actually what is being said or you've received. Ask questions by checking with others who are close to you of how they see you, people that you trust. And I said it before. Trust is something that you are earned, not just given. You trust their feedback. You even ask for different tips. What can I do? What should I do? And in that, you take what they say, brush it over with who you believe you are, brush it over with the Word of God, even to have a safe place and space so you'll have a good understanding of this is who I should be. There is safety in the multitude of counselors. There is. So listen to a message that speaks to you. Find a message of positivity, of growth, expansion of oneself. And then after you listen to it, afterwards, check. Check with the notes that you put down for yourself. Check with others to see if it's similar to what you thought, if it has any weight and faith for validity. If you're trying to have a relationship, and I'm not going to get too much into relationship, but I really am disappointed when I see people who connect with people who they really shouldn't connect with as a personal relationship. You already can see that this ain't going nowhere. This is not going to happen. And when you see it, you want to protect them. You want to help them and say, you know what, this is not going to go well for you. But they can't see that yet. And then a lot of times they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the truth of what type of decision they've made. They feel like, well, I've already invested in what, 2 weeks, 2 months. And sometimes they can't see what you see. So be patient with them, love them, love them through with the decision that they've made, and help them get through this particular relationship, especially if and when it fails. You want to love them through it. I try to share and bring comfort when I receive certain answers from certain decisions that I've made or I've given. Um, and I try to talk to others, if there's certain decisions that I've made, to understand the value of what that decision have brought me. And then I also look at what negativities has this decision brought to me. And if the value outweighs the negativity, great. But if that negativity outweighs what you deemed as valuable, you have to cut your losses, because eventually, eventually that's going to cause some problems for you. And a cancerous sore continuously spread without treatment. So take the time to identify what is good for you. Although it is easy to identify desperate actions when looking for a relationship, desperation can manifest in going and manifest in an ongoing problem. Do not become desperate or desperately hold on to certain things that does not mean you any good. Especially when, come on, people, especially when you know things are not necessarily working for your good, and you can see it, you can feel it, and you're more frustrated than happy, than pleased. When God gives you something, He gives it to you, there's peace, there's joy, there's great reward on the inside and out. For the Lord blesses those with those gifts. He makes you rich and He adds no sorrow. Okay? Thank you for tuning in to Truth and Life. I'm Johnnie Sanders. You guys be blessed. Let's be good. Let's dare to be great. I'll see you next time.